Adana was running. She was not running towards a lover or a hidden pot of gold. She was running for her life, or rather, for her soul. The heavy, expensive coral beads around her neck felt like a noose, choking her with every breath. With a cry of frustration, she tore them off, scattering the precious red stones onto the muddy forest floor. She didn't care that those beads were worth more than her father's entire farm. She kicked off her embroidered sandals, letting her bare feet sink into the cold soil. The silk wrapper, given to her just hours ago by the palace handmaidens, snagged on a thorn bush, but she pulled it free, tearing the fine fabric, and kept sprinting into the darkness. Most girls in the village of Odogolu dreamed of the palace. They dreamed of the soft beds, the endless feasts, and the power of being queen. But as Adana sprinted through the shadows, dodging the twisted roots of the Iroko trees, all she could think of was the high walls of the palace. To her, they were not walls of protection, they were the bars of a golden cage. It was hard to believe that just 3 days ago, Adana was nobody. She was simply the daughter of Mazi Okafo, the village basket weaver. Her life was simple. Her hands were rough from cutting bamboo, and her skin smelt of wood smoke, not rose water. She was the girl who laughed loudest at the stream, the one who climbed palm trees to fetch fruit when the boys were too scared. Her family was poor, often eating roasted yam with no oil, but they were free. They slept with their doors open and spoke their mind without whispering. Adana had never wanted to be noticed. In fact, she did everything to remain invisible. But fate has a strange way of finding those who hide. It happened during the new Yam Festival. King Oba Adeolu, the young and formidable ruler of the land, had announced he would choose a wife. The village square was packed. Girls from every clan lined up, their bodies rubbed with camwood, their hair woven in intricate styles. They danced like peacocks, hoping to catch the king's eye. Adana was not in the line. She was behind the crowd, helping an old woman whose heavy basket of yams had spilled into the mud. While the other maidens ignored the old woman to keep their dresses clean, Adana was on her knees in the dirt, gathering the yams. She didn't know the king was watching. He wasn't looking at the dancers, he was looking at the girl who was serving. When the royal guards pointed their spears at her and the king announced, "That one," the one with the mud on her knees, the music stopped. The village gasped. Adana didn't bow, she dropped her yams in shock. For the next 2 days, she was kept in the palace preparation room. They scrubbed her skin until it was raw. They told her she could no longer climb trees. They told her she could no longer laugh loudly because queens do not cackle. They told her she could never see her poor parents again without permission. Adana looked at the other palace wives. They were beautiful, but their eyes were empty. They spoke in whispers, terrified of making a mistake. They were well-fed birds with clipped wings. Adana realized that being chosen meant dying. It meant Adana, the weaver's daughter, would cease to exist, replaced by a silent statue covered in gold. So, on the eve of the wedding, while the guards were drinking palm wine, she climbed out of the window and ran. But she didn't get far. Suddenly, the sound of hoofbeats thundered ahead of her. Adana skidded to a halt as a massive black horse blocked her path. It was the king. He was not surrounded by guards, he was alone. He sat tall on his horse, watching her shivering in the moonlight, covered in mud, barefoot, with her torn royal dress. Adana fell to her knees, trembling. "Kill me, Kabiesi," she cried out, her voice breaking. "I cannot be your queen. I am a wild bird. If you put me in a cage, I will die. Please let me go back to my bamboo and my poverty. I want to be free." The forest was silent. The king dismounted slowly. He walked toward her, his boots crunching on the leaves. He stopped and looked at the scattered coral beads on the ground, the wealth she had thrown away without a second thought. "You think I chose you because I wanted another doll to decorate my palace?" the king asked, his voice low and serious. Adana looked up, tears mixing with the rain on her face. "I have a palace full of people who tell me what I want to hear. I have advisors who crave gold more than truth. I chose you, Adana, not because you are beautiful, but because you are the only one who cared about an old woman more than a king. And now you are running away from power while everyone else runs toward it." The king reached out a hand. "I do not want a prisoner. I want a partner who knows the value of freedom so much that she will help me protect it for everyone else. If you run now, you are free. But if you come with me, you do not have to change. You will teach the palace how to be wild." Adana looked at the king's hand. For the first time, she saw not a jailer, but a man who was just as lonely in his tower as she was afraid of it. She realized that true freedom wasn't just about running in the woods, it was about having the power to change the rules. Adana took the king's hand. She didn't walk back to the palace as a captured bird. She walked back as a woman who had chosen her own destiny.